Viscosity is an interesting science experiment. I have three different materials here today. There are other materials that you can use. Obviously, I'm just using these three, but it will give you the principle of what you're doing. I would make sure that mine were equal. You'll notice that my honey over here in this one, that was all that was in the container, so I don't have as much honey. I should have poured these back out to make them even. But I have three things. They should be equal in measurement. On a cold day, lots of times things get thicker. For instance, on a cold day, if you tried to pour syrup outside, it wouldn't pour very quickly, as opposed to if you took it outside on a summer day, it would pour much more quickly. If you have it in the refrigerator, obviously the same principle happens. But viscosity has to do with internal friction within a liquid or a gas. Gases are much less viscous than viscous than liquids, but even then there's a friction force within them. Like liquids, most gases also have viscosity. For example, oxygen is more than twice as viscous as hydrogen under the same conditions, temperature, and pressure. So we're going to take some samples here. What I would suggest for this experiment is I have marbles. I'm going to drop these marbles down into the different materials. Obviously, if you had a taller bottle, it would be more visual because this is going to drop a little quickly. My suggestion would be that you time the amount of time it takes for the marble to drop to the bottom, make predictions about what's going to work with what, which one is going to be the denser, and as a result that is going to, the viscosity is going to be more strong than in the others. So it has to do with acceleration, obviously has to do with gravity, and then as I said has to do with viscosity, also has to do with friction and frictional force. There's some mathematics involved. There's some further information in the notebook that will tell you a little bit more about them. So let's see if we can let's see if we can do the water and the honey at the same time. That way you can actually see the viscosity very easily in those two things, because my prediction is that we're going to have a lot quicker drop in the water than we are in the honey. So here we go. I would suggest that you time this when you're doing it with your students. Obviously the water went straight to the bottom. You can see that the honey is still going and finally hits the bottom. Obviously the vegetable oil will be in the middle. It didn't take much longer than the water though, if any. So there are different things that you can do. You could do corn syrup, you could do maple syrup, you could do dishwashing liquid. There's a variety of different things that you could do, so you could do several experiments, make a hypothesis, use the scientific method to see what viscosity was the most, what element of viscosity fit the particular different liquids.